When I swipe around on the trackpad, can you guys see
No.
or hear? Good.
Hey, who has a Amazon Echo in their room?
I do.
Turn around, look at it, and say, "Open the Spartan."
I don't want to do that. You know what my son did yesterday, like with no warning or anything, is he came home and he sat in front of it and started playing tic-tac-toe with Alexa. And it was so weird because there's no visual component to it. They were just speaking like which positions they wanted to put X's and O's in.
If you open the Spartan and ask to play a game, it tells you, "I have no time for your idiotic suburban games, you fool."
Great.
It was just difficult to learn how to shut that off because when you ask it to turn off the lights, it kind of yelled at you and told you that only commoners need lights. And
hear me right now? Okay, that's my bad microphone.
Yep, and we lost Phil.
My good microphone is not working.
What a mess. Remember when we used to do this and there was no problems every single week? It all just worked perfectly every time. And that's totally why we did it every week and loved doing it.
Why did we stop doing this?
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait a moment. Sorry, folks. I'm going to try a different dongle.
We also learned that a whole bunch of the tools that we used to use for like lower thirds and stuff, it seems like those features have been deprecated.
Yeah, I forgot that even exists. But didn't they like to move where that lived? Like every other week?
Yeah, you can install Hangouts Toolbox, but then like a bunch of the buttons just don't work.
Yeah, I got a thing where you can add apps here.
I don't even have the add apps button, which is funny.
Can't remember.
I'm using Safari, so I'm amazed this is even working.
I think I got a backup recording going.
I just love this mic Jim recommended I buy. I don't even need headphones. I've got you all blasted at 80% volume. No feedback.
Nice.
Jerry, I'm disappointed you took the birds out of the room. I think they should have been part of this experience.
I thought about it, but I didn't want Daniel to come to my house and kill me when...
Shouldn't we just get like shit faced in the middle of this for old time's sake?
We only have an hour today. We can't get this going. I think we've actually technically started already. I know it's been a while, but Phil, you should probably start us off.
Okay.
My good microphone doesn't work, so you guys got to deal with the garbage. I'm sorry.
Oh, Andrew, we've been dealing with your garbage for years.
Oh, well, this is true.
Still use that music?
The question is, like, microphone. Does that sound better than I was on before?
Nope, you still sound like a robot.
Well, you guys are just going to have to wait then.
Okay.
I love to watch Andrew when he's frustrated.
That's only 99% of the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
He's just quieter and glares slightly more.
I love how Bader's just hiding. Like, he's there. We know he's there.
He's very busy pulling levers, though. All right. No, we still don't have Andrew back.
I probably shouldn't have taken 3 Percocet this morning.
You should have taken 4 Percocet.
That's what I was thinking. I had 5 and had a good old time.
Do we have a rundown anywhere?
No, this is just all the stuff that's top of mind because it's been kind of a week,
right?
Yeah, swinging it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of stuff.
Speaking of which,
yeah. So that it gets darker from top to bottom, right?
Yeah, this is really bad light for showing it off, but yeah, we have actual pictures of it as well. Looks really cool in the daylight.
Bader says we got to go, so let's go.
All right, yeah. Andrew will show up in a little bit.
All right. I got a backup recording going just because. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Andrew. Oh, where's Andrew? Peter's back there like, oh, God, Phil, come on. Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Android Central podcast. It is episode number 400. 400 for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. I'm Daniel Bader. I'm not Daniel Bader. I'm Phil Nickinson.
Stop reading from the paper.
Damn, sorry. I am Daniel Bader, the greatest in all the land. No, Daniel Bader. You know Daniel Bader. He usually does this now, but he said, Phil, it's episode 400, and everybody else is tired of podcasting, so could you just come back and do this? And so, hi. How's it going? It's good to be back. I think it's good to be back. We'll find out in like an hour if it was good to be back. But seriously, thanks to Bader for asking me to come hang out for a little bit. Very cool. I can't believe we're on 400. And I don't mind saying we, because a lot of these guys and a lot of you out there have been with this show for 400 freaking episodes. More than that, actually. I wonder, somebody should do the math because we've done like special eps. But hi, how's it going? Russell Holly is here. Hi, Russell.
Hello.
It's been a long time since I used Hangouts. Does it still like switch automatically to people?
Only when we're making noise.
Okay. Alex Dobie is here.
I am here. Yeah.
What country are you in?
I'm in London right now, and we'll talk about the reasons. Well, it might as well be. We'll talk about the reasons why very, very soon.
Okay. Well, I mean, first and foremost is that you're British, so it's a pretty good place for you.
Aluminium.
Jerry Hildenbrand.
Hey, what's up?
Morning. It's a little early for you. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. How you doing?
I'm okay. I think Andrew Martonik
headphones. Do what?
Andrew might be back.
Andrew is back.
I saw it. Nope, he's shaking his head. He is not, in fact, back. So pay no attention to the maybe you can't see. You can't hear.
No, unless you can hear me now.
Yeah,
but I'm having microphone problems. So
no, that sounds fine.
Well, who knows what microphone it's on? I've got like 7 of them here, and one of them works. So that's all.
So episode 400. Was there anything special you guys wanted to do, or should we just
Well, just real quick, do you know what your first episode was?
Yes, 1.
Well, sure, but like, what happened then?
It was. Oh, I have no idea. It was me and Mickey Papillon. Who, if you don't listen to the Cell Phone Junkie, it is still going. I gotta look now. How many episodes are they up to? It's ridiculous.
They've got to be in the 4 digits, right?
Yeah, let's find out. I'm gonna look right now. Yeah, it was Mickey and me because I wanted to start a podcast for AC. 644 is what they're at.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I knew how to do it because I'd been doing them for a while with Dan Rubino from Windows Central and Dieter Bohn and everybody, but I didn't really have anyone to do it with. So and this was long before Alex and Jerry. Were you even with us yet? You might not have been.
I came on at 13.
Yeah. So it was me and Mickey, and it's fun. Like you go back and listen and you expect it to be horrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. It sounds a little excited and a little funny, but it holds up. I don't remember what we talked about now.
Probably talking about sweet ROMs for the HD2 or something.
Probably like Moto Blur and good old days. Phil Blur. That's what we called it back then. Yeah. So it's been
kind of a weird trip from there to here, though. Like for all of it, for you and for Android and just kind of all of the above. 400 episodes is a lot. There's been a lot of stuff that's changed.
You think back to just how bad the phones were back in the day, and remember, I didn't start using Android till the original Droid. So I missed the really bad days. But yeah, I mean, it's gone from this nerd thing. And I remember sitting in the newsroom at the newspaper where I worked at the time, the day Android was announced, and looking at it, we're like, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It'll be interesting at some point, but like this phone is not that. I can't use that. I think I was using like a Q9H back then. But yeah, I mean, look where we are now with a Pixel 3. It's funny, I still type Nexus though. I did that once this morning already.
Really?
Yeah.
I rid myself of that after the original Pixel for a couple months.
Such a better name. Nexus.
You think Nexus is a better name?
Yes. It's a better word anyway.
Maybe
not a better name. But it's a cool word.
I do miss the logo, but yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to D-Brand, who is still making stickers on the back of phones that still have the Nexus icon that you can buy to put on your Pixel just to stick it to the man.
And we're kind of in I think we're in a weird spot. I know you guys have talked about it and Jerry's talked about it before, where Android itself is changing. And I think in another 100 episodes, it'll be very different. It'll be, more Chromey, right?
If it's even called Android.
Yeah, it probably won't be called Android.
What do you think, Jerry?
I try not to think, but what I do think, I realize that any predictions we make, they are not going to be right. That's just how it works. No, it's fun and really fun, but
yeah, I mean, and you look at it and like where the Pixel slate is, and man, I'm still tempted to get one. I haven't decided yet.
You just gotta remortgage your house.
Yeah,
and just blind your senses to all the software, which doesn't quite work.
Everybody keeps saying that. Go buy a Windows laptop with those specs and tell me the price.
Oh, it's yeah.
Because we're no longer. This is not just a web browser anymore.
Can a Windows laptop scroll through a list of apps without lagging?
No.
Well,
no, not unless you spend $1,500.
I mean, I can put industrial light magic software on a Chromebook now. So we're not just a web browser anymore.
Well, and we're starting to see some really cool stuff from manufacturers, right? Like I went and saw Dell for their big thing. They actually promoted the Chromebook to the Inspiron line. Like it's right next to Windows machines as far as like how it gets branded and stuff, which is a new thing. And the way that they were talking about the new launch for what was a pretty decent mid-range laptop was that they were approaching people who were leaving middle school and high school and were looking at like what their quote unquote grown-up computer was going to be.
Yeah.
So they needed to make something that felt like, felt and performed like a higher end machine, but still ran the experience that they were used to. And I think HP is doing the same thing right now. Like it makes a lot of sense.
And the interesting thing there is more and more of them have grown up using an Android phone as well, and already, across school and home using Google Apps, Google services, all that kind of stuff. Like that's what they're used to. So it's not just the fact that they've had a Chromebook in school, but it's the fact that they probably had a Moto G, in middle school or whatever. And, they didn't, not everybody had an iPhone when they were 14 years old.
Russell's making a big point there. You're going to get this new generation really over the next 5-6 years of I'll call them kids, of people who have been using Chromebooks at school because of Chromebooks in school. and you don't necessarily need a full-fledged desktop. You don't necessarily need, Microsoft Office applications. And these are more economical and frankly easier ways to get into it. I watched somebody struggle with a PowerPoint thing the other night. And I don't have PowerPoint on my machine. I'm like, just put it in Google Docs and open it there. It just works. Right? Yep.
Well, it's a things for as long as I grew up with people who had that same excuse. Like I bought a MacBook because Macs were what I grew up with in school. So like that was the thing that I was familiar with, or Windows computers were what I bought when I got out of middle school because that was the thing I was familiar with. It's that has been the trend for as long as computers have been around in schools.
And to be fair, I mean, there's still things that I can do on a MacBook that I can just do quicker and easier than I can on a Chromebook. Mm-hmm. Love the Chromebook Pixel. Got one. Fantastic little piece of hardware for what it does. But they're just, like going into Dropbox where it's actually part of the file structure and just little things like that. 1Password still works a little better. I don't have fingerprint or anything on my MacBooks from like 2013. But so there are things I want to see updated, and that's just a matter of spending the money. But man, those Chromebooks are so good now.
But to that point about using a Chromebook Pixel is that these kids are coming out of school having used like burner Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Like $149 bought in bulk 5-year-old Chromebooks.
Oh, one of my kid has it has a whiteboard on the lid. It's awesome.
Oh, that's what I want.
That's cool. Kind of neat. Yeah.
Who needs PowerPoint?
Yep. Yeah, it's going to change things. She still wants an iPhone.
I had an interesting discussion with some people that this is all just Google's strategy to get into the enterprise. Because of this, if you start people using Chromebooks and Google Docs every day, when they graduate from college and they go get in an executive position or any type of engineering or other position where you need to make a presentation or write something, they already know Google Docs. And as it is now, Google Docs is semi-popular, but it's Microsoft is the enterprise, and Google wants to change that.
But from the education level, like kids know more about Google Docs than they do Microsoft Word.
Right.
Yep.
By far.
And that's not a bad thing. God, I mean, I still have to have both installed just because every now and then you run into the one weird thing that doesn't work or doesn't work the right way at the right time.
Oh, you're telling me you're not using Apple Pages?
Sometimes it's weird. So on Cord Cutters, I'm doing a lot of weird spreadsheety, like copying and pasting channels listing stuff. And there are a couple times where something just works right. I think in Pages. It might be in Excel.
Numbers is actually really good.
Yeah.
No jokes.
Yes. There are times that yes. And because it's all free in there, why the hell not? But yeah, watching people like try to activate Office and it's like, no, my God, what year is this? Really? Okay. Fine. So I got my Pixel 3 yesterday.
What color? And don't tell me not pink.
I got it I went white this year.
I went not pink.
Boom. Of course you did, Russell, and that's okay.
Always buy the weird color, whatever it is.
Well, for me, the white one was already weird enough.
I have a question. And first, I want to say the notch doesn't bother me that much. It's a notch.
Yeah,
get over it.
Whatever.
The back, cool.
Bye.
Digging the glass. I really am digging the glass. I'm really curious to see how long it takes to scratch, and really am curious to see if that was just an early batch thing with all you guys in review units.
That seems kind of a little fluky. And people were saying, "Oh, well, mine was scratched after spending some time in a bag with keys." It's like, well, yeah, duh.
Yeah, it's a glass phone. And people were also saying devices at the event, I think was one argument we made. And if you're talking about devices at the event being manhandled, yeah, I mean, how many devices after being through 2 hours with a bunch of journalists are going to come out looking good? Probably not very many.
They're basically melted to the table.
Pretty much. And my biggest thing about the back of this, I actually have the, you probably can't see because the lighting is very bad. And also this is a black pixel, but just how little this picks up fingerprints, right? That's the biggest thing about this. It does not feel like a glass phone in the same way that the Pixel 2 last year did not feel like a metal phone. Google's going for different, there you go, 2 colors. Andrew, say something so we can see.
I'm saying something. Oh, that's right. It doesn't highlight me. But yeah, you don't have to do look at your phone, grimace, and wipe it on your pants leg or wipe it on your shirt because it doesn't collect. It just doesn't collect that stuff.
And that's the genius of having that 2/3 or 3/4 sort of pattern. The area that your hand is in contact with, okay, it's the metal side, but it's also the matte back. You're never touching the glossy area at the top that would be inclined to get more fingerprinty.
And now you kind of understand why they have the glossy sides, which I think kind of look a little cheap.
They look like plastic. They're not, but they look like plastic.
Yeah, but
like plastic.
That glossy part gives you grip on the sides. That's why Samsung did the glossy sides for so long, because it helped you grip the phone. Now they moved away from it, went back to the kind of anodized metal look, but they still have the glass on the back. I think if they would have kept the sides metal, or just the raw metal finish like they did on the Pixel 2, this thing would be a proper slippery fish.
So here's my
Is that a reference back there?
I heard that. I noticed that. I'm just it's a good phone. I'm not wowed by it. Somebody was asking on Twitter, should I upgrade from a 2? And my answer then, even before I touched it, was probably not. Now it's almost certainly not. The experience just isn't that different.
No.
But the screen.
Look, no, I get that the screen is better. The screen is absolutely better. That was not a deal killer for me on the Pixel 2. It just wasn't. Got used to it enough, and I've been switching back and forth between a Pixel 2 and an iPhone X for a little while now, and not once when I would go back to the Pixel 2, it was like, the screen sucks, I can't use it. I think people made a big deal out of that because they could just make a big deal out of it. I saw somebody complaining about not enough RAM on this thing. What the hell? What year is this? Or are we still having this discussion?
Okay, that was me, and it's true. And it's not about things being bumped out of memory, but if you've used enough phones with 6 or 8, you can only go back 2 or 3 apps before it starts having to redraw stuff. And that's only a fraction of a second, but it's something that's there. It's there as a result of their hardware choices.
So the
And it's
bigger
something
thing
you don't get on other equivalent phones at the same price. It's absolutely a thing.
It's there because those apps you use suck and they need to be updated.
No. Here's the place where it actually makes like life harder. You're listening to music or a podcast or something. You open the camera and take a photo, and your podcast or music stops because the app is killed.
The reason it does that is because Google has HDR+. HDR+ is great, but it's very processing heavy. It's very memory heavy. And yet Google chose to stay with the same level of memory they have for the past 2 years, knowing that, not only is 4 kind of pushing it in terms of, as heavy as apps are now, and just in terms of the competition, the market in general, to have that and then to, have HDR+, which is very memory heavy anyway, and not upgrade the RAM seems like a bit of an oversight. It's not a deal breaker. I still love these phones. But it's definitely a negative.
I bet it would do that with 100 megs or gigs of RAM though, because it only has one DSP.
It never happens on the Samsung phone.
No, it happens on
use HDR Plus.
I really, I think Jerry's right. I think those of us who don't make phones for a living tend to use, it doesn't have enough RAM. Like that's the crutch because that's the thing that we know.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: HTC made another phone last year, which was not quite a Pixel 2, but basically very, very similar to the Pixel 2. It had 6 gigs of RAM. You could do HDR Plus, and you could listen to podcasts at the same time because there was a version of the Google Camera app that would work on that phone, and it worked flawlessly. So I don't care what any of you guys say. It's all memory. You're all wrong. Screw you.
But it didn't do HDR Plus because it doesn't have the DSP to do it. Well, they claimed it did it. No, we all said, "Oh, cool."
No. I'm talking about the Pixel Camera app, the hack version that would run it, because back then the actual Pixel Camera app wasn't using the Visual Core, right? It was running on the SoC. So
I didn't start using the Pixel Visual Core until now.
Yeah.
Luckily for Alex, Huawei just made a phone with 10 gigs of RAM.
No, this is the correct amount of RAM, Russell. This is 6 gigabytes of RAM, which is a normal, reasonable number because it's 2018. Okay.
So grab yourself a 10 gig of RAM phone, and then you'll be really happy.
Even the Porsche design one only has 8. Okay, let's not.
It's gonna look great on the box, right? Now with the ability to take a picture and listen to a podcast at the same time.
Woo! And that's the thing. Like the normal people that Google wants to buy the Pixel don't know what a DSP is. They don't care what HDR Plus is. They just want to take a photo and have their music keep playing.
They do know if you open the camera with music playing, you can't take a video or say cheese to take a picture because the microphone will be cut.
But I'm not doing that. I'm just taking a regular photo and my music stops playing and then the camera app doesn't save a photo. Like that's a wonderful experience. Great job.
I just think you all picked the stupidest hill to die on here.
Yeah.
Because you're wrong. Each and every one of you is wrong except Phil.
I am wrong for using the phone as people use phones.
Yes. Wait,
correct.
No, there's a lot of other dumb things they did, but I'm going to say this one is a hardware limitation and not the RAM.
Tell us how you feel about the notch, Jerry.
Yeah, let's go into the notch.
That's the stupidest thing ever. Whoever did that at Google, you should be fired. Fired.
It also doesn't have a headphone jack, Jerry.
Well, that's because they're dumb.
Although I'm using the Pixel C or the Pixel USB-C headphones with my MacBook right now.
Yeah, apparently they work in those things. Everything.
I mean, Daniel's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to say that they're not that great. They're inbox headphones. They are like what you would pay $15 or $20 for on Amazon, except for
they're paying for. And you'll pay double that if you go and buy them on the Google store.
Exactly, they're $30 on the Google store.
But they have a USB-C connector, so add $50 to the price just because we can.
Yeah, they have to be expensive.
You're wrong.
Yes, so they're right. They're not amazing. They're definitely better than you would expect for just crappy little headphones. But
they're more comfortable Pixel Buds, I think, which is interesting because the Pixel Buds just were weighty and awkward and would. After an hour, they would just stop burning up your ears.
They have the bonus of being lighter for sure. Yeah. They have the downside of being hard plastic without kind of the soft touch material. I think if they could have gotten the soft touch material on here, it would have been better. But they're automatically lighter because they don't have the batteries and the touch sensors and all that kind of stuff. And because of that, they're actually better than the Pixel Buds in that way because they don't have to deal with all the touch crap to try to use them. You just have a regular inline microphone.
You don't have to charge them in a terrible carpet case either.
Yeah, but they also work with everything, which we've actually had a lot of problems with when it comes to Type-C headphones. Working with a whole bunch of stuff. This, like Daniel and you both pointed out that it worked if you just plugged it into a MacBook, and then Daniel just started plugging it into everything.
You could plug them into a Samsung phone, even though it has a headphone jack.
I mean, of all the companies that you would expect to get a USB-C thing working correctly, it's probably Google.
Yeah. No,
2
years
later.
Yeah, now.
I've been spoiled. I don't mind admitting. The Apple AirPods have spoiled me, and I hate it. I hate that
you should
them to spoil me. But
don't you hate what you look like when you wear them?
I've given up on that because, frankly, the beard makes up for a lot.
Now, if it's long enough, it just goes. It'd be like Jerry, just goes around the earpods.
Where would I was in a coffee shop yesterday, and some woman, or I was in the doctor's office. Some woman just starts talking, and I realized her hair was hiding. She must have been wearing some sort of Bluetooth, and I couldn't tell what.
It's the return of the Bluetooth headset guy.
A little bit, yeah. No, they work. They work the way they should. I hate to say I'm a fan because it sounds dumb, but they work. Damn it.
Any headphones that keeps me from hearing your stupid music or you talking to your stupid friends on the bus through the speakers on your phone, I love them.
That's very true.
I really think what spoils me is the part when you take them out that it pauses whatever, and you just don't get that. I've used them with the Pixel a lot too, and you just don't get that with it. So it's not the same experience.
Mm-hmm. There is something to be said for just a wired connection that you remove. And it'll stop playing, but yeah. Sounding like Jerry now.
What else?
Eventually, you all will come to my point of view, and I won't give you hell for being wrong so long.
We got the Home Hub too, and I'm actually
good. I was about to ask you offline if we were allowed to talk about that.
We're kind of not, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, we've been looking at them, and Alex and Andrew and Daniel all got a chance to see them at the event, and it's weird from all the pictures. You don't actually get from the pictures how small this thing is.
It's so tiny.
It is ridiculously tiny. It really does look like someone took a tablet and just put it on a dock.
Yeah, it looks like a slightly larger Pixel 3 XL.
Yeah, it really looks like you should be able to just remove a tablet from a dock and just take it with you somewhere.
I haven't yelled about this yet, but I saw people freaking out a little bit because it's not actually running Android things. It's a glorified Chromecast. Is that noticeable at all yet? Do I care?
No, we've seen a couple of videos of the UI so far as people thumb through it, and it is almost exactly the same as what you get on the Lenovo Smart Display. The only real difference is this drop-down menu that Phil, you will recognize immediately when you go to use it. Google totally just stole this from the Echo Show.
Nice.
The swipe down for smart home stuff. It looks a lot nicer on the Home Mini than it does on the Echo Show, but that's exactly what it's there for.
And I mean, this looks like what I've been begging for forever, which is if your smart home crap is actually supported by it, and I guess that's what the big question is always going to be. Then you can quickly get to it, and the doorbells will pop up automatically, and God knows what else at some point. But I've got the new Echo Show here, and it's hooked up and it's sitting in my kitchen, pretty close to the Lenovo Smart Display, and I have not yet once wanted to do anything with the Echo Show.
I will say that the Echo Show, actually all of the Echo products for the second generation, they sound so much nicer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like Amazon actually listened to them before releasing the products.
Yeah,
and the new Echo Show looks great. I mean, it's total 180 from the first gen.
The screen is nice. The speakers are ridiculous, and not just on those, but also on the Echo Dot second generation. It's ridiculous to put an Echo Dot and an Echo Dot second generation side by side and just hear what an insane difference there is between the two.
Try putting an Echo Plus 1 and 2 beside each other, and you will. How did this not cost $100 more?
See, and I'm kind of envious because I know you're also going to be taking a look at the Echo Sub, and I didn't when Amazon first made these announcements. I was like, oh, okay, so they're going to add this audio stuff, and I didn't really care because my experience with all of the Echo first generation stuff, I was kind of wishy-washy on. Now that I've heard these, like I'm coming to your house when that Echo Sub shows up.
The sub sounds good.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Even when it's just paired with a couple dots, it sounds, or a dot, it's good.
I'm hoping that software can fix the issues with it. The sub is extremely well made. It's small and powerful for as
It's
little
only
as it is.
$150.
But it's not quite what you would expect from a subwoofer, but I think that's all software.
Cool.
I couldn't hop on a few weeks ago after the Amazon event, but you guys care about the recast any, or is that just me from a cord cutters thing?
I love the idea behind the recast. I think that's going to be a really cool thing for people. So I put it differently. I think it's going to be a really cool thing for people who get the cord cutting thing,
Right.
like who are excited about the idea of actually setting up a home like TiVo style thing that pushes to multiple televisions and they're comfortable with the way that the the Fire TV ecosystem already works. I think if you're already in that ecosystem, recast is going to be awesome. I'm not sure people who aren't already excited about their Fire TV are going to care about recast.
Yeah.
I want playback in a browser and then I'll buy one.
Right.
That's true.
Andrew's right. The other thing I was thinking about this week is the state of Android TV. Because Roku has announced,
that?
I think.
I used my Shield last night as a cast target, and that was the first time it's been on in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean Roku is. Yeah, I think it's announced 3, maybe 4 or 5 new Roku TV partners, and it's got the new speakers coming out that are just supposed to magically work, almost like AirPods work with iPhones. These will magically work with Roku TVs, and yeah, I mean Android TV. What it's on Sony, it's on it's on a few manufacturers' TVs.
It's on a lot of the lower end stuff, like a lot of the Chinese brands do it.
Right, but I mean Roku's on a quarter. They say almost 1 out of every 4 smart TVs is running Roku, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's funny that it has taken such a dominant position when none of the techie nerdy people ever talk about Roku stuff.
Well, it's not my. I mean, I've got everything here. Right, I've got an Apple TV in the bedroom. I've got Roku out here in the living room, and it's like smart TV for kids is how it looks to me. Right, it just doesn't look like a smart TV.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Hey, we were just joined by another Android Central friend.
We were. Hello. I just
Welcome. Audio problems.
This is all working really well.
I think I keep
so
muting
glad
her
that-
when somebody else unmutes her. Error's here. Somebody unmute her other than me.
She's got to unmute herself. I can't do anything.
Okay.
Who's driving this bus?
Hi, guys.
Hello.
We're just talking about Android TV and Roku.
Actually, what's funny is we talked about Android TV for about 12 seconds, and then we talked
She's
about
like,
all of the
"Hello."
other things.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yep. But yeah, I don't hate Roku. Like it's fine. I guess it's like even though they're constantly adding stuff, like you said, it's a very simple interface, and there's just not a lot to talk about. It either works or it doesn't.
And it's
And
a way to get the partners content.
Yeah.
And well, not just the partners content, but Roku has a
Their own channel thing.
They have their own channel and a bunch of free movies and TV now. It's huge and news. And
I look at 2 little black boxes over here on the desk behind me. One is a Roku HD and the other is a Steam Link. If those 2 companies get together and sell that product for less than $200, Android TV is dead. Because there's no reason to have anything except that on your television.
more dead, mostly dead.
More day.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other way to look at that would be if Roku and Google were to work together in such a way that Roku gained Google Assistant.
Sure. That
would be a tremendous. Like Google could stop doing Android TV today, and license Android Assistant to Roku and just take over the television space.
There was actually I think somebody pulled up a support page on Roku.
They're doing that.
Yeah, saying exactly that. It just hasn't happened yet.
Well, right, it's not here yet.
I think that's
So-
what Russell was alluding to.
Oh, okay.
But really, how
and Google Assistant on Sonos, and actually Sonos is going to do Roku. Haven't quite figured out how that works. I need more coffee first. Era, how are you? Welcome to episode 400.
I am very good. I'm happy to be here. I'm very thankful that it's a cloudy day outside, so I have consistent lighting at least. But yeah, for Android TV, I love my Shield TV a little bit more than I love Roku whenever I've gotten to play with it.
So what are you doing with it?
I still
Because
think
I think you're one of the only ones in this room who use it like every day. So what do you usually do with it?
Netflix, YouTube, and Hulu.
So the same thing.
And Crunchyroll and Funimation.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I don't game with my Shield TV at all.
You're not pulling out the gaming controller and like playing GeForce Now games.
Oh no, I use the controller for the other stuff because the controller is the easiest way to seek within. It's the easiest way to browse into, fast forward and rewind when you're watching anything.
And like, I will give it to the Shield TV in terms of power. Like, you don't have to wait. I feel like you don't have to wait for things to buffer, or wait for apps to load, or like even Chromecast like fires up from standby quicker than the Chromecast Ultra. Like, that's nice, but people aren't going to pay $200 to have their Netflix launch a couple seconds faster.
On the same television, I think the Shield TV does 4K HDR better than Apple TV or my Roku HD, or even the Fire TV that's built into the television itself.
Even then, I mean, it's as easy as Apple TV is to use and as easy as Android TV is to use. Having it built in to what essentially is a $500 or $600 TV. I've got the 55-inch TCL 6 series here, and it's like you don't need anything more than that, right?
Nope.
Yes, Apple TV is a little faster. Yes, Shield TV is faster, but 90% of the population doesn't care, and the other 10 doesn't need it either. I don't do any Apple stuff with Apple TV. They don't need any more than the apps that are built into their TV until the apps on their TV stop working. There's a Vizio TV not 10 yards from me that my sister brought home from college and my parents use, and Hulu doesn't work on that TV anymore, and YouTube doesn't work on that TV anymore, and Netflix is just slow as molasses. Sure, and that's when you go get a $50 stick. And the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K, I think, is the one to beat. That's assuming it works and is not just dog slow and it's supposed to be faster. But that's the one that's going to kill everybody in the stick game, I think.
Look,
we
who
just
else
had another
joined?
Android Central person join us.
I know, we have another guest.
We're gonna fill this bar on the bottom if it costs us our life.
Everybody knows that Hayato.
Me in on this.
Do you guys
I don't
remember
belong on this.
that last CES live that we did in Vegas? We did like a wrap-up video, and somebody's like, "Hey Phil, there's this guy Hayato. He wants to like say hi," and I was like, "Well, hell, be in the video." Didn't realize it was friggin' Hayato. So if you haven't seen it, we gotta dig it up. It's funny as hell. Because I'm just like, and here's this kid, Hayato. Yeah, it was great.
But now he's behind the camera on everything that Alex is not doing. So basically, any video that happened that isn't Alex's, Hayato probably shot it.
Yo.
Yep, doing a ton of stuff and looking like a weird college professor in the process right now.
Do you have a pipe?
That's right.
I don't.
I have a pipe.
I need to get the glasses to be better though.
So was it weird that that not part of the Google event was a new Chromecast that just kind of appeared, and actually before the event was sold accidentally at a couple of Best Buy stores?
And they just put on the Google store. They were like, "Yeah, we put new plastic on this thing."
We also did this.
It was really great of Google to not show us that stuff or anything else while we were in our briefing. But it was fun.
Because they're just like, they just have like a bin by the door where you can just grab a Chromecast on your way out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it here. There's almost literally nothing to talk about. Like, it's still a Chromecast.
But how does it look plugged in behind your TV, Phil? Because we know that this is important to you.
I don't even know where it is, actually.
Type C now, right? Type C? That's new.
Is it?
No.
No? Okay.
Nope.
I think I'm pretty sure it's literally the same internals.
It's the 1080p Chromecast with a different plastic outer shell.
Different plastic outer shell now does 60 frames per second at 1080p.
Oh, okay.
Those are the only two differences.
Probably bumped up the processor.
They say it's
60.
faster. Yeah, they say it's 15% faster, but that's not anything any user's ever going to notice.
Because the original. So this obviously this is the second gen Chromecast, not the first like little stupid one. Because the first one didn't have a cord on it, but this one's from 2014.
Long way. I remember you and I were you at that event? I remember I was at that event out in San Francisco.
I feel like I was probably there. I don't know. I was
Google's
there
always
for the
done
original
weird
one,
stuff.
which was just not a good design.
Right.
Google's Chromecast launches have always been weird. Like aside from the very first one where they were like, "We're doing this shiny new thing," pretty much all of them since then have been. By the way, this also exists.
Yep.
Hey,
it's a
we're one
Chromecast.
step closer to filling that bottom bar.
Almost.
Who have we got?
Harish
Hey,
is
Harish.
here.
What is up, Harish? What time is it there, dude?
It's just past 9.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Hi.
I mean, it's pretty bad from my perspective because it's 8:30 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost having flashbacks to our podcast back in the day where it would be like 2 a.m. for me, and it'd be me, Jerry, and Phil, and possibly some other people.
Those people were great.
Harish,
What is
that
Harish?
is an excellent shirt. I love how subtle it looks right now, but I assume that further it gets a lot more insane.
Yeah, it does. They actually sell a beer here, so I got this from the brewery.
So Harish, what's the last exciting phone you've been messing with in India?
Oh my god, it's just an insane market.
You get a new
there.
phone every other day, so
Yeah, it's like every alternate day there's a new phone launching. I think the last one was the Honor 8X. So
Okay.
that just launched 2 days ago, and it's really nice. I have it here. So it has this, yeah, it smudges easily, but it has a nice two-tone glass finish, similar to
looks
the
like a
Honor
P20.
10. Yeah, it's similar to the Honor 10, but there's a vertical band on one side to give it more of a gradient effect, I guess. And yeah, for $200, it's pretty good.
And it's pretty gigantic as well, isn't it? Like, just physically, it is a large phone and a large
Yeah.
screen, and a pretty good screen that you get for the price.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
going to insist that you hold it up next to your head for a size comparison, but if you wanted to do that, it probably work pretty well.
I think this is one of the largest screens that Honor put out. It's a 6.5 inch. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And it has the Kirin 710, the new 12nm mid-range one. So that chipset is really good.
So, like, what's the big phone, like the coolest phone in India that like people would actually care about, trying to import it to Europe or to the US, like buying it gray market on Amazon or something like that? Like, which one is actually neat enough to like go toe to toe over here?
Oh, there are so many options. The first one that comes to mind is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 5 Pro. I think that thing is like $150, and it
And I
has
want
this.
Send me.
But I think the one that everyone cares about is the OnePlus 6 Avengers.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you how salty I get every time I'm like, oh, OnePlus did this really cool variant of a phone, and it's only in India. Like, I get it. That like their whole unique manufacturing system they have going on in India is very cool, and being able to reach that audience. And didn't they buy out a theater for a bunch of the OnePlus fans to go and see Avengers: Infinity War?
Yeah, they did
That's
that for
super
Avengers.
cool.
Yeah, and they had an early premiere of Star Wars last year, and they're doing something this year when the 6T is launching. So
That's
Hey,
super
Russell.
cool.
Hey, Russell, I wonder what cool thing you're not going to be able to buy in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out, and I'm gonna be just as mad in 2 or 3 weeks as I was the last couple of years.
They're just going to release a Russell edition and release
That's right.
it
It's
only
just
in
gonna be
India.
my face etched into the glass, and I'm never gonna be able to get it. That's
Buy
Oh,
one of those
Pete.
Avengers OnePluses, Harish, and put it right next to that Marshall Bluetooth speaker so Russell and I both can hate you.
that's right.
I'm actually going to get 2 more of those Marshall speakers.
Shut up.
Alex, you've teased it a couple of times now. What's the weird Starfield phone you've got?
I don't know if you call it a Starfield phone, but this is, and again, the lighting is very bad, so I apologize. But you can see Harish's face reflecting in right now.
It's the Harish edition.
It's now the Andrew edition.
What was what's the name of that color?
So this is the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, and this is one of 3 phones announced this week. We're actually going to have a whole separate podcast with me, Nirav Gondia, and Michael Fisher coming up sometime in the next week, where we talk about all the Huawei stuff. But this is probably the most interesting sort of mainstream flagship kind of device that they have, and there is just a ton of stuff to talk about. The big thing with Huawei is it's got the new software. It's based on Android Pie. It's pretty good. It's got a gigantic battery that now up to 4,200 milliamp hours, because 4,000 is just for chumps these days. And they have a new triple camera system, which, in addition to doing the crazy low light stuff from the P20 Pro, and having the 3x telephoto as well, now does wide angle. Not only wide angle, it's wide angle you can use with the crazy low light mode, and wide angle it is autofocus, unlike LG's wide angle. So there's a lot of great stuff with this. We've got a hands-on video up right now that you can go and then mash some buttons afterwards to make sure you get our future videos. And yeah, we'll have a big podcast chat about that as well. We also have a regular Mate 20, which is kind of like a step down, slightly more traditional flat flagship. And we have a giant 7.2-inch, 5,000 milliamp hour battery Huawei Mate 20 X as well, which is Asia only, which is
it's
ridiculous.
not the Mate 2010.
Not quite. It's that would be a bit too on the nose. I was expecting a Mate 20 Max, but no, it's the Mate 20 X, and it's sort of the return to this sort of traditional big gigantic phone. They've gone back to the form factor of those older Mate phones, except now because we have the technology, they've just filled out the entire front face with screen, and it's a ridiculous, glorious, stupid piece of technology.
And you know who doesn't get to use any of them?
Americans.
Joe Maring, who just joined us as well.
I know. I'm just kind of internally crying about all these fun toys that
You want any of them.
You want some Morpho Aurora in your life.
We're going to need Joe to wear more expressive colors.
Joe always has
I know. I felt
really
a little dull
epic
with this
shirts.
today.
He's always got really nice shirts.
It's either this or like the blue with like giant flowers, but I thought this would be a little more subdued.
I got this OD green army surplus crap on, and here comes Joe looking like Elvis or something.
Mark LeGrace just showed up too.
And he is wearing blue so that you didn't have to. Look at this teamwork. What is on your shirt? Are they popcorns? They
Little
are popcorns.
Yeah. Little bitty popcorns.
I'm going to everybody's house and taking all their shirts.
Or my flamingo one yesterday.
Awesome.
I'll put like a Molly Hatchet concert T-shirt on or something. I'll show you guys.
Remember when Android used to have cool shirts?
I do remember when Andrew. Actually, you know what's funny is I've recently had to buy a shirt because Andrew made me super jealous. The Google store has a couple of shirt designs now that have the Google bike.
I got one of those. That's great. Yeah.
One with the basket and one without, and they're like the Google store is actually online now, which I didn't know.
Yeah, not like the Google store, but the Google merchandise store, which is inexplicably a different place.
And it has a terrible URL, but.
And also it looks like it was made in 2001.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's all of the stuff that you can normally get in that Google store that used to be super exclusive. You used to need a Google employee just to get into that store on the Google campus.
Yeah, I bought mine on the campus, and I didn't even get anything cool for it. And then you just buy it online, like a poser, Russell.
Yep. I think.
All right then. What other Android-y stuff can we talk about?
Actually, Joe wrote something this morning about the refresh to Google Keep that happened today. She was super excited about it. And that seems like kind of a small thing, but Keep does not get the love that it deserves, I think, a lot of times, because I end up using it for everything, and I'm actually a fan of the design.
If you have a newish Chromebook with a pen, you will love Google Keep. You do love Google Keep already. I know you do.
Oh, but having the ability to trace.
You flip it over in tablet mode, and Keep works on the lock screen.
Oh, that I do like.
It was always kind of weird that when they came out with the pen stuff with the Chromebook or with the Pixelbook, they were like, oh yeah, you can do all this drawing stuff and it's part of Google Keep. And we were like, wait, you're paying attention to Keep all of a sudden? And then, we have these rollouts of the new interface now.
I like it.
There's that.
Yeah. What else, Phil? What else happened?
I tell you, CarPlay almost is half as good as Android Auto now.
Shade.
Still not there.
Low bar. Yeah, they let third-party apps do stuff now.
Now that Waze is on there, yeah.
Good on Apple for waiting 2 generations for that one.
It can't use external GPS though. So like I don't know if you guys saw it, but I just totally forgot their name. Alpine sent me over their 9-inch touchscreen, which is brilliant. It's $1,000. It's like $900. It's not cheap, But I tell you, it is so much better than the $300 head units that we'd been using, and that we hesitated to even review before because we couldn't recommend it because of the wired connections. It was just really, really wonky. But this one's totally rock solid. But yeah, so it's got external GPS. There's a little GPS antenna sitting in the dash of my car now. CarPlay doesn't use it. Android still can. So
cool. So actually, now since you've been spending time with both,
yep.
Does the wireless mode in CarPlay matter compared to the non-wireless in Android Auto?
I still don't. Well, I mean, I haven't used wireless CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. This isn't wireless. I still think that's not a huge deal because if you're in the car, you should really probably plug your phone in anyway just to charge the damn thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking of, and I really need to do a quick video on this, is you can do one little thing in your car that makes it so much safer. I mean, first, I think Android Auto does a better job of locking you out of your phone, even though you just have to swipe up now. But if you just use like a 6-inch cable, which for Android Auto you've kind of had to do for a long time anyway because the connection was wonky over USB-C, especially with the Pioneers. Pioneer? Yeah. Or Kenwood. I forget what I was using. But use a 6-inch cable versus a 3-foot cable because you are so less likely to try to pick up your phone and use it when you're, when it's just got this really short tether on it versus a convenient 3-foot cable that lets you do whatever you want to otherwise. And
I really like the Ford implementation where the center console thing has a USB port inside the center console, so that that feeds directly into Android Auto. So like
you just kind of lock it in there.
Yeah, you just you put the phone in there and you close the center console, and the phone is just gone. But
Yeah,
all your Android Auto stuff is in the center thing. I really like that.
That's really what it's all about, is not actually using your phone, but still using your phone. Doing it all safely.
Using the brain of your phone. Also, Amazon did a bunch of car stuff at their big event too. We're not going to see it for a while. It's like a weird private invite thing. But conceptually, it had a couple of things that were kind of nice, like being able to use Alexa to launch specific apps, and like they're really trying to catch up with Assistant when it comes to a lot of this personal stuff.
And it's like $30 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's real cheap, and I'm going to assume that the design is on purpose. I
mean, the first generation of Echo products apparently had design on purpose too, and they look like garbage.
So. I might have signed everyone in this room up when I signed up under every email address I could find to make sure we can use one of those things.
It looks kind of like a little cassette that sticks to your dashboard and glows and is kind of neat.
It looks like Alexa in the car, and that's at first you think, well, Google Assistant, Alexa, whatever in my car, that's dumb. But then think a little bit deeper and think of other products that Pioneer or Alpine or anybody could make. They could go in your car that could work with Alexa.
And I mean, the thing with this is that it's like $30.
Yeah,
it's the absolute minimum buy-in in order to get a piece of hardware in your car. So, Phil's talking about the difference between a $300 and a $500 head unit.
Right.
But this is like $30, and you plug it in, and it's just like having an Echo input or an Echo Dot in your car.
It's going to be real interesting.
Yeah.
Tom Westrick just joined us as well.
Tom,
say something, Tom.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Captain America. Oh, you all in your shirts.
It's
good.
good.
Plain green shirt is just the way to go, Jerry.
Gotta rock a plain green shirt.
Anything else?
Gotta rock the branding.
We have a solid 8 minutes left before we all have to get back to our actual jobs.
Yes.
I still have one of those.
Today anyway.
Oh, I want to talk about that little smart plug for a minute.
Oh yeah,
Amazon Bender.
I read your review on that.
That thing, you know what? It's just a smart plug. There's a million different companies that make a smart plug. All they do is turn on and off when you trigger them to turn on and off. But this thing, literally, I plugged it in the wall, and 5 seconds later, my phone told me it was ready to use. It already gave it the name First Plug, which you can change, and told me just say your hot word and turn on First Plug, and it will work. So I did, and it worked. and I was done. I didn't have to push any buttons. I didn't have to take a small object and stick it in a hole and hold it for 5 seconds while I tapped a button in an app, or any of the other crap that you've had to go through if you've set up smart plugs.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
It's so awesome to see your experience mirror exactly what their demo was. You're actually making it sound like it was simpler than their demo, because, they're kind of in this fake living room where they're setting the thing up and they have weird, networks. So they said that this is exactly how it's supposed to happen, whether you're plugging in your first or your 50th smart plug.
Well, to test, what would the experience be like if you didn't have a new product? I unplugged the new Echoes and left my old Echo Plus up and running. Plugged one in, opened the I told it to scan for new hardware. It told me to open the Alexa app on my phone, and I had to tap and tell it what network. Done. That was the setup. If you don't have new stuff, that's the next company that makes a smart plug. If it's harder to install than that, you suck.
Oh, and once you set up one, the Alexa app remembers your Wi-Fi and all of that stuff, so it becomes just as easy. I will say that I got a very similar experience setting up the second gen Echo Dot. Amazon got much better at that initial setup process with this generation.
They needed to
across the thing.
Any of us in here can set up any smart plug, and a lot of the people listening, you can set up a smart plug. You know how to push buttons or enter IP addresses, but most people don't. They need something that just works the way it's supposed to work. And this is the first product I've ever used that actually does.
Cool. Mark, what's your favorite thing that you've been touching recently?
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
No,
Russell?
Could be software too. Hey.
Man.
Man, I don't know. You guys are just talking about Alexa. I've been just testing out Alexa a lot more. I've been writing about Alexa versus Google.
That's right, because Alexa is fairly new to Canada, right?
Yeah, it's still kind of like new. It's still catching on all the features and stuff.
They're not over it yet, Russell.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have both a Google Home and an Echo speaker set up in the house, so I kind of use both services for different things. Like Google Assistant's way better for giving like directions or just like. The news briefing I use like every morning to kind of like just find out what's going on in the world. But then I have
the Echo speaker. Canadians have the advantage there, not so much us in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
You
don't want our news.
Oh well, it seeps up here too. Don't worry. I'm fully aware of what's going on down there. But yeah. Other than that, I've been just doing some gaming stuff, playing some games. Yeah.
That's awesome. You excited for the Razer Phone 2?
I'm pretty excited to see what that would like, what the improvements are for it. I used the Razer Phone as my daily driver for like most of the summer, and it was pretty fun for gaming in particular.
Wow, wait a minute, the summer outside?
Don't go outside.
Yeah, well, in Canada, the summer's only 13 minutes.
Yeah, that's sadly true. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what the differences are. Have you had a chance to look at one yet, Alex?
Razer Phone 2? Yeah, I actually have one on the way. Richard Devine, I think, has one right now. He's going to be reviewing it for Windows Central. It's very promising, I think. And yeah, it's all about just fixing the problems with the first one, about making sure the screen is actually visible outside, making it bright as well as fast, making sure the camera's up there already in terms of quality. It was basically a mess when they shipped that first Razer phone with just an absolutely dreadful camera experience for such an expensive phone. So they haven't changed a whole lot. We now have chroma on the back, which is, I guess, kind of
fun.
They
put LEDs on it.
They did. And yeah, so you have this, haven't totally changed the design, but actually it feels a lot different because the glass is, the back is glass now, and you have the glowing stuff on the back. But more important than that, probably just the fact that, they're nailing these problems with the first phone in terms of the display and the cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get one in my hands and see how it compares to everything. So,
hey, I'm getting a message from Daniel Bader that says we have to start winding down, and I say, to hell with that. We're going all day.
What a buzzkill!
Oh man, 400 shows. That's cool.
Yes.
So, I did have something I wanted to bring back up with the smart plugs and the ease of setup and how freaking important it is that Google Home is now allowing you, so somebody can set up everything and then share it with everybody else to let them use it too in the house. The multi-home support for Google Home in Home View.
Yeah, the new Home View and the Google Home app has got a not an entirely new interface, but pretty darn close to it, where you can group a lot of things and you can understand which things are where, not just by stupid like individual names, but by room and by home.
If it works, it killed everything in my house.
Really?
Yeah, I'm fixing stuff a little bit too this week.
Yeah, I don't have as much stuff as you guys. So.
37 Hue lights all disappeared from Google Home. When my app updated.
Meanwhile, I have lights outside.
Right?
Yeah, I've got lights outside on Wemo switches that work great, but yeah, all my Hue stuff needs redone.
Good luck. I had to sacrifice it.
All right, I'm gonna go through all of you. Tell me the thing you are most excited about for Android right now. Alex, go.
That's a tough one.
All right, good answer, Andrew.
Yeah, no. So actually, let me guess. Let me get the. I mean, the future of Android is hard, right? No one knows what's coming next year, and it's all people say phones are boring right now, whatever else. I want to talk about the Nexus 5. It's 5 years today since the Nexus 5, and that phone today. So Nexus 5 probably, it's easy to kind of overlook it. It was of the weird era where Nexus phones were kind of cheap and kind of weird, and LTE was just becoming a thing on there. But the Nexus 5 brought one feature that Google really didn't mention at all, but it was the first phone to have this 5 years since we first got HDR Plus today on the Nexus 5.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that, I think, kind of started off this whole trend towards computational photography on phones. And Google was, back then, probably the only company to realize the importance of that. And, what started as this weird little feature on a phone that not a whole lot of people bought, with, like a bunch of issues on battery life and stuff, and a weird plastic design, and just a, not a particularly thrilling phone for the average person. But it started off this trend that we now see with pretty much everyone gearing towards using computation to get really great photos out of these tiny cameras and phones. So yeah,
Google is still doing it better than most, I think.
Pretty much.
Andrew, what about you?
Sorry, I was reaching down in my desk drawer because I'm going to pull out my Nexus 5 and charge it now. I mean, Alex mentioned that phones are just getting kind of boring now, or like people think that. Yeah, they are getting a little boring and kind of looking all the same. So I'm ready for that next step. One of these manufacturers, whether it's Samsung probably, or somebody coming out with something entirely new in terms of these foldable phones, or some an entirely new hardware form factor, rather than the screen got a little bigger, the bezels got a little smaller, the camera got 5% better, or we just put 17 cameras on the thing. Like, they're all super iterative, and we've hit this point where all these iterations have happened, and now we're ready for another like actual jump. Really, like, phones aren't just going to keep looking like these glass slabs forever. There's going to be another change, and it's going to happen sooner than we think.
Russell?
I'm kind of. I think my favorite thing about Android right now is like a weird broad generalization, but it thinks for me in a couple of really fascinating ways. The weirdest thing about Android Pie was thumbing through a couple of notifications as I was sitting. It was actually in New York with Michael Fisher doing an event, and it was the first time that the phone went, "Hey, you've dismissed like 6 of these notifications. Do you want us to just get rid of them for you?" And I was just like, yes, of course, that's what I want. I never want to see that notification from this app again. And it was gone. I didn't have to worry about it anymore. And it was the first time that I really kind of sat and thought, I was like, my Android phone is actively, quote unquote, thinking about ways to make my day-to-day experience better. Whether it's computational photography, whether it's picking photos and saying, hey, do you want us to share these photos of your kids with your parents? Or telling me the fastest way to get to work, or to get to my kid's school, or something like that. It all kind of surrounds this whole idea, and I dig it. Especially when it works really well. It's awesome.
Jerry.
Ooh, my favorite thing about Android is probably knowing that custom chip fabrication is right on the horizon because of all these things we've heard so far. computational photography, onboard machine learning. That stuff has to happen. The only way for that to happen is for somebody to build a chip that can do it.
Jerry,
Huawei,
when you say custom chip fabrication, what is that for normals?
I'm talking no more Snapdragon. I'm talking Google does what Huawei did, reached out and built a super chip, or had somebody else build it with their design. They're doing what Apple had to do, and Huawei and Apple had to do it because no chip in a box off the shelf designed to work with everybody has these types of capabilities. Google had to add a second chip just to handle what they want to do with photography. The next step is to build their own PCB, their own chips, their own design, and they have to do it. It's on the horizon. I know it.
Yara.
I am excited for Assistant, most honestly, but I really want to see YouTube Music actually turn into a music platform that people can actually, like regular people would want to use on a regular basis. Because it has the best selection on earth, and yet it's just library management is not where it needs to be for the average user.
And that selection still goes up in smoke when you leave one of the supported countries in a way that, unless you download it, and unless in a way that it doesn't on Play Music and a lot of other services.
And then you get a deauth limit because you downloaded on too many devices.
Yep.
Then you
and because YouTube Music re-downloads everything like every 24 hours, even if you download it and leave the country, you're still probably not going to have it once you land somewhere.
Hayato. Is he gone? Did he leave? I'm just going to say his name one more time because it's fun to say. Hayato.
More like Bayato.
The thing is that Oxygen Red camera phone thing. It's got to be. And I'm going to say that for him. Sorry, Hayato.
Hydrogen 1.
Yeah,
Joe.
That's what it is.
Go, Joe.
I'm not excited for Andrew's bad puns for Hayato's name, but I am looking forward to see what happens with the Assistant going forward, because I like what Google's doing with the manual smart home controls if you change a thermostat or a light bulb, and the new like My Day view that's basically the old Google Now cars before they killed that off. So it seems like they want to make that more of like a visual interface more than just like a one voice command and you're done with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of evolve that for maybe Android 10 or just other iterative updates, to see if that kind of takes over more like the traditional home screen and app drawer, and if they make that a bigger focus for the UI as a whole. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. I like what they're doing with it.
I'm excited that this HP Chromebook I have is basically an Android tablet, but it's much better than any other Android tablet that's ever existed. And it's only going to get better as Google makes the laptop side of Chrome OS and the tablet-y side of Chrome OS just more seamless, and makes Android apps work even better. And I'm excited that I can say Bayato when I say goodbye to Hayato in person, because we live 20 minutes from each other.
Tom, you wait until you see what I have on my desk that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Okay.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try out the call screening features that they unveiled with the Google or Pixel 3. I feel like it's like the next big thing from like biggest thing for phone calls since the home answering machine. Just that next level where I'm notorious for not answering phone calls from mysterious numbers, so at least I'll get some context as to who's calling me, which will be great. I can't wait for that.
It works. It works really well.
Yeah.
I remember
I
back
couldn't work in time for the election.
Andrew and I both used T-Mobile prepaid. I so wish we had some sort of smart call screening back in those days, because those numbers are just recycled and you get the weirdest calls.
And also just reviewer problems. We have review sims come through that are numbers that have been reused a million different times, and they're just 100% spam calls.
I'm going to go a little higher level and not Android specific, but I think what Google has been doing with account security is a huge deal, because I'm getting older and more curmudgeonly. And I think just what's going on with advanced protection and all that stuff, and where it really starts to lock down your account, you have to use security, keys, hardware keys, and not just SMS codes and even one-time tokens. Is the right way to do it. Yes, Jerry.
I ordered a set for my daughter.
Nice. Look at that. That's how you know you love your kids. And in fact, yeah, I need to do that for mine too. It's the right way to do it. And if we're going to change the way that we use the internet, I think that's the right direction to go, because right now it's badly broken. If you have to, and the other one, and I was going to say, if you have to use VPNs, but the Jigsaw end of Google now lets you make your own VPN. What's it called, Jerry? Outline?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
For $5, and it literally takes about 5 minutes. $5 a month, you get a virtual server from DigitalOcean and your own VPN. And whether it's secure, I don't know, but it's certainly not as spammy as all the VPN companies out there. And it's just a nice, easy way to set up a VPN, so you don't have to worry about just somebody sniffing you on your public Wi-Fi. So I think that's super important, and kudos to Google for doing all that. So that, folks, is episode 40. 400 out of 0.
Wow.
4,400.
Episode 4,000.
Episode 4 million. That's it. Thank you for joining us. Bader's not going to poke his head in here, huh? He's lurking in the background. He's been listening to all this. Thank you again to Daniel Bader for
I'm here. Hello.
Son of a no. Thank you again to Bader for running the show for 100 episodes now. It's awesome. It's been so much fun watching you guys from afar and watching you do your thing while I'm off doing other things. So here's to another 100, folks.
Another 400.
Phil, can we stick a fork in it? Can we?
Stick a fork in it, Jerry.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor working with you guys. And thank you to Hayato and Harish. And thank you to all of you for tuning in live. This has been so fun, and we'll do it again in another 100 episodes, or maybe.
It was so fun. We're not doing it again for another 2 years.
All right, Phil. Why don't you lead us out on this?
No, we already stuck a fork in it. We're done.
Oh, is that how you do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks again.
And then Jerry says something at the end, right?
Adios.